Hello, this is a special episode just to get some correct information out. This isn't exactly a National Divorce Talk normal show. This is just to get some misinformation corrected. So, as you know, as we have been covering, there's an article going out originally by Business Insider talking about how a person who was connected to Yes California is accused of taking money and orders with the conscious direction of destroying America. So, what's key here is that the organization itself is not named in that indictment, and the organization itself is not accused of taking money, and the organization itself is not accused of taking direction. And the reason for that is they can't say that because we had 4 investigations and we were cleared by all of them. So, what they're doing is they're focusing on an individual, Lewis. Now, we famously covered that here recently. I'll show you right now. Make sure that you got the accurate information about sensational headlines. We'll cover that in a second. But first, the question for you to consider is, are you ready to telex it yet? No? Perhaps not? Well, check this out first. Money and direction from the FSB, which is a total lie. So that's what business organization pushing for secession. That Business Insider's headline seemed to suggest was Yes California, and that we were somehow receiving money and direction from the FSB, which is a total lie. So that's what Business Insider suggested in their headline. That is not what the indictment proved. It is a total lie. We'll get to that in a second. But first, we have an article today. Did Russia provide funding and support for booster of California secession movement by Sam Stanton, August 1st, 2021. That's from the Sacramento Bee. We have a clip in the picture for this video. Here's the quote to pay attention to. Yes, California also posted a video on Twitter denying any ties to Russia, noting that the court papers did not identify the group by name, and playing the video from the Valentine's Day 2018 rally to show it was a small, peaceful event that did not gain entry to the governor's office. So here's a quote. So that was the statement that we got Sacramento Bee to make. Here it is. So the Sacramento Bee made this statement. Yes, California also posted a video on Twitter denying any ties to Russia, noting that court papers do not identify the group by name, and playing video from the Valentine's Day 2018 protest to show it was a small, peaceful event that did not gain entry into the governor's office. So Sacramento Bee watched our video, saw what we said, and confirmed that we are saying we don't have ties to Russia, that the indictment does not mention us, it's not coming for us, it's going for an individual, and that Valentine's Day protest was very peaceful, and that it didn't gain entry into the governor's office. And as I've also said many times here, the idea that we were given posters and somebody designed our stuff for us is ridiculous. We came up with the idea of national divorce, and separation for divorce. That was our idea. We had done many conversations going way back. So the problem is that the Council on Foreign Relations decided to say something totally opposite from what the Sacramento Bee said. So Sacramento Bee has gotten their information more correct than Business Insider. But what happened was today, CFR said this. In 2018, Ionov gave money to the California political group for a planned secession event. That's a lie, and that's not what they're saying. They're saying he gave money to a person. We don't know if that person gave money to the event. He didn't give it to the group. That's not what the indictment's saying. That in Sacramento Bee got that right. He supplied posters. I was there. I never saw those posters. He even urged one individual to physically enter the governor's office. Ionov may have done that. I don't know. But we never entered the office, and it was never violent. CFR continues, and he sent an FSB officer to photograph the demonstration afterwards. So Ionov gave money directly to the group, and he supplied posters directly to the group for them to use. And he urged at least one member of the group to storm the governor's office. And then he sent an FSB officer to go photograph the demonstration. Well, the Sacramento Bee has a different take on that. We did not take money. We do not have ties to Russia. We are not named in the indictment. They're not talking about us, not even in a reference capacity. And that protest on Valentine's Day was peaceful, nonviolent, and never entered the governor's office. Now, my question to you is, if the Sacramento Bee, which is not a small publication and is one of the largest publications to write this story, said this, then why is it that the Council on Foreign Relations said this? So how did the Council on Foreign Relations either not read the Sacramento Bee article or completely miss the Sacramento Bee article when it was one of the largest articles of its kind talking about these accusations of a California secession group tied to Russia? So largest publication of its kind in California, talking about California secession, any ties to Russia, and the CFR didn't read it or chose not to read it because the CFR is saying something totally opposite from what the Sacramento Bee had said before. So the Sacramento Bee article came out earlier. CFR article completely ignored it or didn't see it. Either they chose not to read the information or they chose to lie. I don't know. So question comes down to, are they so incompetent that they can't read the Sac Bee and see this statement and they just have to go off the Business Insider headline, which what they're saying looks more like the Business Insider headline than the Sacramento Bee headline. So we're talking about an international policy group, the Council on Foreign Relations. Were they so dumb as to follow a Business Insider headline versus a Sacramento Bee article, which actually quoted us, whereas the Business Insider didn't? Or did they choose not to cover that material? Because if you look at the CFR article, it looks like we got money directly from Ionov. He told us, he made the posters, he directed us to do the event. I was there, none of that happened. And we were told to go into the governor's office and be violent, and none of that happened either. But see, CFR doesn't mention that. CFR doesn't say the group is not mentioned in the indictment. That's because they've already been investigated by the FPPC, which said they did not take money, and during 2018 is when they were investigated. There's no evidence they were supplied posters. There's no evidence they entered the governor's office, and there's no evidence that it was violent. So those are all true statements, but those are not included in the CFR statement. So CFR, Sacramento Bee. Sacramento Bee came out before CFR. See how they have two totally different narratives? If you look at CFR, it sounds like that was a violent protest aimed at storming the governor's office, and maybe we did storm it, and maybe we were violent secessionists. Hell, we received money directly from him. If you look at the Sacramento Bee, that's all garbage. So who's lying? The Council on Foreign Relations or the Sacramento Bee? Well, the Council on Foreign Relations never bothered to ask us any questions or look at our videos. Sacramento Bee at least looked at our videos. So not a good look. Again, here's the other thing is, why couldn't the CFR mention that the California Fair Political Practices Commission, case number 2018-1101, subpoenaed bank accounts for allegations of laundered foreign contributions that ended with allegations have been disproven? Now, here's where it gets interesting. The FPPC investigation, Yes California, was looking at bank accounts during 2018. The allegations are that we received all this money from Ionov for a protest during 2018. So how did the FPPC investigate us for foreign funding and find nothing in 2018, and yet we secretly somehow received foreign funding in 2018? Do you see how this is dumb? FPPC looked into us for 2018, found nothing. And then here's CFR going, oh, Ionov donated to the group in 2018. Actually, that's the total opposite of what the FPPC investigation says. So the FPPC investigation says there was no foreign money in 2018 to the organization at all. But that's not what the Council on Foreign Relations suggests. They suggest that the same year that Yes California was already audited for, and that was assumed to have no ties to foreign government that can be found because the case was dropped, that in fact we did receive money
So you're saying the FPPC doesn't know how to do their job, or they're incompetent, or you're saying they were in on it and are stooges of the Russian government? Which one? By the way, the CFR statement does not align with the Sacramento Bee statement. So we have multiple data points showing how the CFR does not align with the FPPC investigation. It does not align with the SACB statement, and yet they went out there and put it anyways. And what's really sad, what's really truly sad, is that the guys who wrote this work for the Atlantic Council and the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. So the Council on Foreign Relations, the Atlantic Council, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, these are the highest level of foreign policy think tanks. And they lied and couldn't get their basic homework straight. So I have been reading from the Council on Foreign Relations. I've been reading from the Atlantic Council. I've been reading Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. I looked up to those organizations. I know they have a not super great history, but I was interested in the work that they did. These are the top, highest level thinking organizations in America for foreign policy, and they all could not read the FPPC investigation and could not read the Sacramento Bee article, and instead printed something that was more in line with the trashy headline by Business Insider, which Business Insider itself backed down from. So we have top level think tanks either in on it or really incompetent and sloppy with their reviews. I don't know which one. Both sound really horrible, because these are the people who direct policy for America. If this is the level of scholarship they're doing, my God, what other imbecilic conclusions have they already reached? Okay, we'll go to comments in a second. Let me show you. So this is the CFR article. Justin Sherman, non-resident fellow, Atlantic Council. Gavin Wild is a Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Those are the two authors. This was written in Council on Foreign Relations. So very prestigious, high-level thinking, completely got it wrong and alleged something that did not happen. So, and there's where they slam us with lies. Here's where we pointed out that we were cleared by the FPPC investigation. It's all public information. This has been out for 2 years, yet they couldn't cover it. Here's Gavin Wild, very proud about his article where he incorrectly characterizes us. And here's Justin Sherman, where he's also very proud of the work he did where he incorrectly characterized us. So there you have it. Even when you get the information out, the top level think tanks in America for foreign policy discussions will still lie or not do their basic homework. I'll leave it to you to decide which one it is. All right, let's take a look at comments. James Young, hey Mark, hey, how you doing? James, I think you're right. I think people are panicking that the USA is collapsing morally and economically. I'm not a fan of Putin either. Putin is a dictator. Now, maybe the Russian people like him. I don't know. But he is a dictator. He is not for democracy. He does not have a democratic mind. And the way that he's using Russia is for naked aggression against other states, and that's not right. Completely agree. Do want to point out, though, that American invasion of Iraq was damn similar in every capacity, and George W. Bush also wasn't fairly elected like Vladimir Putin. By the way, those are both acknowledged facts by everyone on planet Earth. You just don't hear them brought up that often now. USA is in bad shape right now. I am for secession because they're the only peaceful option. Absolutely agree with you, James, that national divorce is the way to have peace and to save lives. They just want to do mudsling to stop growing peaceful trend to peaceful separation from bad marriage. Absolutely. This is just dad's. Hey, Daniel, how hot is it down there? It's 105 here in Fresno. Yee-haw. Very hot. Politicians' main skill is lying. That's why we are here now, because of lies. Lying is the pastime. Sounds like panicking over a loss of future power. The false information should be stopped. I agree. Yeah, I agree with you, James. I'm not a big overseas war fan. And you know who else wasn't? The American founding fathers. They specifically said, do not go abroad looking for monsters to destroy. The American founding fathers said, do not go abroad looking for monsters to destroy. They specifically said, don't be world cop. So if you're proud to be an American and you believe America is world police, just know that none of the original Americans were with you at all in any capacity. Not at all Russian like Putin. Most Russians fear him and others are against him. Could be. Absolutely. I'm not saying he's a good guy. And I'm not saying what he did in Ukraine is good. I do think it's interesting that when we look at what country has invaded more nations on the earth and killed more humans, and just in the last 20 years, the top contender is not Russia. Just saying. That's a hard fact. I know people don't want to hear that these days. I get it. Hard fact. The Iraq War killed off about 500,000 to 1 million people. As I understand, the civilian count in Ukraine is somewhere around 10 to 30,000. It's just not even comparable by even multiple factors of imagination. So, okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you guys for backing it up. We're trying to fight the misinformation the best we can, trying to make sure the facts get out to you because the mainstream media just won't do it. So we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.